through. So Respondus. Respondus, the software is called Respondus for Exams. And it's the same company that offers the Respondus Lockdown Browser as well as Respondus Monitor. If at any time that I have the opportunity, I will touch on those because we can apply them to a quiz. So let's begin. Let's say that we have our quiz. This is my quiz. My quiz usually, probably has my name. It has some dates, and then I have here just the title of where it's coming from, and then I have my questions. And if I have my questions, then for me to show the answers, I probably have what I call an answer key, and that answer key just simply states 1D, 2A, all the way down to 14 because I have 14 questions. So with that in mind, the first thing that I need to do is I need to install the software called Respondus. And that software is freely available to all faculty. To get to Respondus, just go to our website, teaching.uncc.edu, go to the search site, and just type the word Respondus. Hit enter, and the first link is more than enough for you to go to directly to Respondus. Now, please note, this is a caveat, Respondus is a Windows application only. So sorry about that. Still trying to work with the university, with the company for some time, but nothing has changed. So Windows application. However, if you are a Mac, at the bottom we have a question here, can I use Respondus with a Mac? The answer is no, but the answer that is given as an option is for you to use the Parallels Desktop, VM Fusion, or some virtual Windows environment that you can install on your Mac. If you do that, then you're able to install it on that virtual side to download and use Respondus. So there are two steps to getting the Respondus. The first one is I have to first download the software. And then once the software is downloaded onto my computer, I need to get what we call an installation password. And that installation password will be provided to you by simply clicking on this Respondus request form, filling out the form. You have to click login, and it essentially asks you your name, your email, and once it gets that, it will email the license password or license code, installation password code, to you by email that you will then add to the software. Because of time, I've already done that, so I'm going to go ahead and just click. And here's a software called Respondus. The first thing you do when you get in here is that's going to ask you, in terms of the settings, for you to set up essentially what you want how to add the installation password, as well as what we call current personality. And current personality is simply which LMS are you using. And so in our case, we're using Canvas, so you simply click on Canvas and you're done. As an aside, this software, Respondus, periodically has updates. The only time you know that there's an update is when you go into the software and it will pop up saying update is available, get it now or get it later. Always get it now. But you can always click on help, click on check for update. It will check for you and then it says okay. I've also found that many times faculty may have an issue where they're trying to do some installation and there is some error. It's probably because you did not update to the latest version. So please do so. And if you do it the first time, do it again. There may have been 3 since the last time you used Respondus. Now, as you notice here, I have the latest update, so I'm good to go. So the next step is, how do I get my Word document into Respondus? Well, let me run over. I have two documents here that I have in Google Docs. I just started it there, but I could have very well have it in Word. So here is my document, and a couple of things to note. I have this, and even though in my question I have number 1 dot the title and then A B C D, you'll notice here in number 3 I have the A B C D all in one line. Well, that is going to be problematic. It needs to be formatted like this. We also have a situation where for the same number 3, I have 2 D's. There's a D here, and there's a D here. So I need to make sure that one of them this one becomes E. Otherwise, these 2 D's are going to be one response question available to the student. So you want to change that. And then I have some others like number 14, also have it in one line. Okay? Then I need to have my answer key, so I have it all set up here. So when I format my document, it needs to look like this. It needs to look like this. You notice the difference between this one and this one, this one and the previous one is that I removed everything that had nothing to do with the question. So you have to remove that from the from your question type to be able to use it. Okay, so that's the first thing. So I removed it from the top. The second is for those questions like number 3, I went ahead and I changed it, and I made sure everything was on the same line. I'm not using, by the way, bullet points, that numbered list. I'm not using it. I said I don't want to use it, so I'm just using simply typing a dot. That helps you to control the formatting because Respondus does not like those type of formatting. So I made sure that the 2 D's, one of them was changed to an E, and then I have, I think question number 8. Well, sorry, not the question number 12. Sorry. Also, I change it, and then question number 14, I change it. And then for the answer key section, remember this? I added it to my document, but I simply said answers, add a space, just hit enter, and then I type 1D, 2A, all the way to 14. And I want to make sure that if it's 14 questions, then I have 14 answer keys. Well, an answer key that has 14. Once I'm finished doing it from here, I can always go File and download it as a Word document. I could also do it as a RTF, a rich text file. But I went to DOCX. Now, here is my document in my Word document itself, because the Respondus cannot import from Google Docs. It has to be an actual file. So there is my file. It's devoid of any formatting, whether in the the header. I don't want to use any headers or footers. I made sure there was a space between each question. I made sure that number 3 was changed and number 8 was changed. Number 12 was changed and number 14 was changed, and then answers. Now I have deliberately done this. Notice number 8, I've deliberately left it as is. So let's say this is my formatted Word document. I am ready to go. Then my next step is to save it as DOCX and then go over into Respondus. So this is the front screen of Respondus. To start, the first thing that I want to do is to import that question from a text file. It says text file, but when I choose it, the type of file is text, rich text, all the way down. I'm going to choose DOCX because that is exactly my Word document. And you'll notice I have the Word document open. It doesn't matter. I can leave it open while I'm importing. So type of file, I'm going to browse. I'm going to go ahead and find that Word file, and there it is, Final Exam. I call it Final Exam for Bruce. That's fine. Click Open. The next step, after typing the file, choosing the file name. I don't have to do anything here. The next step in number 2 is that I need to create a new document. I need to name my exam. And that name is what will appear in Canvas, in my Canvas course. So I'm going to say Final Exam for Canvas. Once I do that, then number 3 says Preview to check for problems. So let's check for problems. I'm going to check for problems to see if the system can catch any errors that I've made. Well, there you have it. My questions have gone. I'm going to check. I do have 14 questions, but below it says warning and notes. One question had no correct answer. So the first answer is set as correct, and that question is number 8. Okay, well, let me look over to number 8. What did I do wrong? Well, lo and behold, just as I thought, I had everything in one line. It needs to be formatted like this. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go back. I'm going to cancel. Then I'm going to go into the Word document, and I'm just going to put my cursor here and hit Enter each time at the beginning of the question. All right, so A, B, C, D, E. And, you know, I can always check, but I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to go ahead and just save. Okay, the document is still open. I'm going to go over now, back into Respondus, click Import Questions, and go through that step again. First, change the type of file to DOCX, browse for the file, click Open, then type Final Exam in Canvas. I'm just going to call it that. Number 3, click Preview, and let's see if I have any errors. And look at that, no warnings. So number 8, which was problematic because I had everything in one line, has now been fixed. You may also find other warnings, which is maybe in question, let's say question 8 and 9 had the words in this question repeated. In this question, Walter Mischel's famous experiments involved. In this question, Dan Wegner explains. For Respondus, it may think that is duplication, that maybe you're typing that question twice. Because you know it's not, you ignore it. It's just a warning, but it's not a warning that's going to cause problems with your question. So now that I've finished, I'm going to go ahead and click on Finish. And now my Word document is imported into Respondus. All right. So at the bottom here are the questions. I can preview if I click on this magnifying glass, or if I click on the drop down, I can preview. And it shows me how my question will look inside of Canvas. That's the question. These are the A, B, C, D. Feedback. D is my answer. All right. So the next step now is, how do I get it from here, from Respondus into Canvas? Before I forget, please note that you can also grab test bank from different publishers who have an agreement with Respondus, and therefore you're going to have to find that book and make that request, but they can format that for you and send you. So now I'm going to move on. By the way, if you have a question here, let's say this question, and I want to edit it, because in that question I want to add an image, I can do so by formatting that question. I'm not going to do that in Word, but I'm going to do that in Respondus. I can click Media. I can upload a media file from my computer or link to a media file on a web server. So I'm going to go Next, and I'm going to find an image. I'm going to browse for that image. Let me just grab any quick picture that I may have, something small probably. Let me grab this. Click Open. Click Next. And oh, by the way, please remember to add alt text so that students be able to find it. And so I'm going to just type, the question was about thesis, image of a thesis for students to edit. I don't know, just something that is descriptive. Click next. I'm going to leave it at that. It's reducing it. Click finish. And now you're going to see this, but that's fine. Just leave it as that. And then by all means, you want to save it. You can also go back to that question. Like I said, click preview here, or click on the magnifying glass to see how to add an image within that question. All right? Good. So now, I want to now push this question over to Canvas. So I click on the Preview and Publish tab. I can preview the entire file, which is made up of all the questions by clicking Next, Next, Next. I can go and do that. I can modify an item. But I'm just going to go ahead over here and go through the wizard. So let's start. So I want to publish to a single course, but I can also batch publish to multiple courses. So I'm just going to leave it a single course. Now, in the when you get it the first time, it's going to look like this, where when you come, you need to configure the connection between Respondus and Canvas. You want to choose no, I want to enter the server settings manually. Click next. And here, the information that you want to do, you want to copy the URL of Canvas. And to do that, you're simply going to go into Canvas, click on any course. It doesn't need to be that course, the course that you're going to ultimately use. Just a course. It just wants an idea of one of the URLs. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go over to Respondus, and I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to click this extract to extract the information. And I'm going to copy this type of name for this. So my Canvas Bruce. And then I'm going to type my username, and I'm going to type my password. I'm not going to save it on the computer because if I change my password at some point, I don't want it to capture it, right? I want to be able to change it as well. For it to capture the change. So I'm going to click OK. And there it is. So this will always appear. The first time it's blank. The second time it's going to have that. It has all those settings. Now I need to click Next for it to connect to the server. So it's going to say, it want me to so it's clicking an authentication module. Again, I have not, used this a lot, but if you haven't, it will do so very quickly. And once it's up, we are ready to connect ourselves into Canvas. I'm seeing some of your questions, so I'm kind of modifying, but please note that I will have time at the end to answer your question. All right, so let me go ahead and click Next. Okay. It's going to ask me to log in. This is the Nanonet. Click Login. I've noted, oh, of course, I got caught. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to, for the sake of time, just do this very quickly. It's going to enter a passcode. You can always have it send you a push. You want to authorize? Definitely click Authorize. And now it's going to show you that, okay, you want to do a graded quiz, or question bank, but I'm doing graded quiz. That's the name I want my question to be. I'm not going to choose any of this because I want to go into Canvas to set up add my settings and all that. So I'm going to click Next. And now it's going to say, where do you want to put it? I'm not going to, change anything, but I need to, actually I need to send it to a particular course. And so the course that I'm using is called Canvas Quizzing. All right, let me just use this one, Bruce Sandbox 1, and just place it in that course. Click Next, and now it's publishing it and throwing it over into Canvas. You'll see a message when it's finished, but I can always run over to Canvas and find that course so that I can get on board with everything. Okay, there you go. So let me just do it. So this is the exam. So there it goes. Final exam in Canvas has been put into my course. It just fell into the first assignment or quiz group. It has 14 points because it was 1 point, 14 questions. So I'm just going to go now into that question. I'm going to edit it. And the first thing I want to do is to set up continuous settings. If I want to change the name, I can do that. I want to put some instructions there, okay, for the students. I want to also shuffle my answers. I do not have all of the above, so I can do that. I do want to do a time limit, so I'm going to go with 30 minutes. I don't want the students to see the correct answers. I may want them to see the quiz responses, but not show it incorrect if they got it wrong, the correct if they got it incorrect. I can show one question at a time, and then I can put in my due date and the available from and available until. I now can go over to the question side. So you see there was an image with that I brought over. In answering to that question, if I had decided, I can't seem to get out of this now. If I had decided that I wanted to edit the question there to add, anything, I could have done that as well. But I could say, go into this question, okay, and then right here, I can add some mathematical formulas if I wanted. Whatever. So I could have done that, adding those things there. I can always check the answer, but if this is wrong, I could always run up here and change it. So I prefer to use those things. For those who, oh boy, I have a problem here. Oh, sorry, I think I know why. Let me just close that. Okay. Yes, please go away. Good. For those who want to see more of the questions in terms of the setup, if you, in Respondus, we click Help and click Help Topics. Click on the search and just type, you can type the word standard format and list topics. And the one that is here, standard format, will show you how to format your Word document so that you can get the, how do you put in the question. So 3 bracket space, who determined. You can use bullet points like this. You can use or type it in yourself. So that's for multiple choice. You can also type, it goes down for different ways of multiple choice. It goes into true or false questions. You can either put an asterisk here, or you put the answer key, but you put the word true, the word false, or the letter T and the letter F. So the standard formatting goes through everything, and at the bottom, it talks about, if you're using the answer key, you type the word answers, space, hit enter, and then type 1. So you notice BD means these are multiple answer. It's B, D, B, comma, D, whatever, but all 3 would work. Okay, they're all acceptable for multiple answers, or what they call multiple responses. The second thing is that you can also do a search for, well, no, not a search, but you can also check for update by hitting the check for update right here. All right? So here is my question. I have that. I can always edit, put images, because I have the rich content editor that I can add images here as well, but everything is ready to go. And the only thing I need to do now is to click Save and Publish, and now that paper test is now a fully functional Canvas quiz that your students can take and answer accordingly. All right, so I'll stop right there in terms of this, and let me go over to the chat now, and let me begin to answer your questions. So let me start at the bottom. Would you be sharing information in this session how what students need to download funds for the exam? Again, students, this is not a student software. This is a faculty software. So faculty use this to import Word document, which is an exam, into Canvas. The students go into Canvas to take the exam. This is not, I repeat, not a student software. I would like them to answer a one-point practice quiz to get familiar with the browser. Can I create this practice quiz directly? Yes. This is just for faculty who ordinarily would have given students a paper-based exam that they printed from a Word document. But now, because we're all teaching online, I want to get that Word into Canvas. You have a choice that you can always type this in one at a time, but if you have 50 questions and they're already in a Word document, save yourself that work by using the Respondus for Exam tool, okay? All right, next question is, how do students work on graphic problems during online tests? So students need to draw on a graph to read data. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how that works, Terry. The only thing that I can say is that you're going to really leave it as a paper exam. You're going to email that to students. Students are going to print it out on a paper, and they're going to work on it. The assumption then is, number one, that students have a printer nearby that they can solve this. Otherwise, they can't. So I would say, in lieu of the fact that if a student does not have printer, what do you do? I would say that you show them a graph, and then they, in a paragraph format, type out reading that graph, reading the data from the graph, okay? But if they don't have a printer to access, then you really want to give them an open-ended question with the image of the graph, and then have them add that question, add the answers there. Let me just run up. Okay, Elena, you have asked another question. I'm thinking to use Respondus and browser lockdown for midterm too. Sure. So, as part of that, for those who may be inclined to do that for this final exam in Canvas, the first thing you want to do is that you want to turn on using the Respondus lockdown browser. If it's not there, you need to go in Settings, click on Navigation, and put it there. Once you do that, I'm going to go into Lockdown Browser. And as part of Lockdown Browser is Lockdown Monitor, is Respondus Monitor. So once I go over to the Respondus Monitor, I just need to find my exam. There it is, Final Exam in Canvas. Click Settings. I'm going to turn on to require the Respondus lockdown, which in turn gives me Respondus Webcam. I'm going to require the webcam for this, okay? Please note, it does not work on Chromebook, iPad, Android, iOS, Kindle. In other words, it doesn't work on tablets. All right, Respondus Monitor. For the lockdown section, don't put a password because it's not going to help. They're all virtual. But you can allow students to take this. You can lock the browser until exam is completed. That's always good. You can allow access to specific external. You can enable, and you can add the web domains that they have to get to. You can enable a calculator on the toolbar, whether it's standard or scientific. All right. For the webcam, these things come into place, but I like this one, student photo, where you're able to have the system bring up their camera and the students take a picture of themselves so that they can say, oh, here I am. And that will be part of what you verify that this student is exactly the student. So there I am. I'm going to take a picture, and I'm good to go. All right? So consider that. So if I accept all of that, and there are other settings you can look at, then I'm going to go ahead and save and close. And now you'll notice that that exam is now tied to Respondus Lockdown Browser and Respondus Monitor. It's going to appear in a moment. Let me just scroll up. There you go. Final exam in Canvas. This is required. This is required.